Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our ADEIL workshop. I am Teresa Leary-Handy. I am the awards chair for the ADEIL program organization, and I am going to be your host today. Jen Robinson, my colleague, is our tech assistant, and she is going to be holding down the tech piece, and we get new titles every time we do one of these. So thank you all for joining us today. We have a wonderful afternoon planned for you. We're going to hear from Jasmine Mays. Our workshop title today is Telling Real History Through XR. In this interactive workshop, you're going to explore how extended reality or XR technologies can be used to tell real history and to foster inclusive curriculum. We're going to engage in some hands-on activities, can't wait for those. And we're going to dive into how important this type of curriculum is for exploring key elements and generating concrete strategies for teaching hidden history through XR. Now, our presenter today is Jasmine Mays. Jasmine developed a passion for learning at a young age while also recognizing the disparities of educational opportunities. In 2011, she joined Teach for America, beginning her career as an educational professional. During her time as a high school Spanish teacher in Washington, D.C., she witnessed her students' remarkable growth due to the increased educational programming at her school. As a teacher and later as a principal, she identified the lack of representation in our monuments and textbooks as a contributing factor to educational inequity. Today, Jasmine serves as the Chief of Education and Learning at Kinfolk, an organization that harnesses emerging technologies to empower stories of Black, Brown, Indigenous, and queer communities in public spaces through imagination and play. She credits her family, ancestors, teaching experience, and mentors as the basis for evolving educational impact. And with that, I present to you Jasmine Mays. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you all for having me. I am so honored to be here. I love education and I love being with researchers and educators. I always feel really at home. Do feel free. This is an interactive session. So I am very much, if you have a question, feel free to come off of mute. Let's make this sort of engaging for everybody. And I think this session will take about an hour. So let's talk a little bit about Kinfolk. I'm going to begin with just this poll about the role of technology in feeling free. Let's get people participating. Feel free to cast your vote. And what I'm going to do is to share this deck. So Kinfolk. So I work for an organization called Kinfolk. We make an app of the same name, and we are in the business of telling real history through XR or extended reality. This is our agenda for today. We are going to talk about what Kinfolk is. We're going to get started with the app. I'm going to show you all how to download it, walk you through onboarding and permissions. I'm going to show you how to work two main modes of our app, a scan mode and a place mode. We're going to reflect on the need for inclusive history and curriculum. We're going to take time to self-assess and reflect on the call. And then we are going to begin to wrap up, and within that wrap up, we hope to get nominations from you all about the sorts of figures and histories you'd like to see join the Kinfolk app, etc. And then get into discussion. I'll answer questions and we can just talk about next steps. All right. I'm seeing in the chat answers to that poll. Thank you so much. So Kinfolk, we have three main pillars. I always like to explain to people that we exist where these three things sort of meet and intersect: community, art, and education. And then our tech group is sort of at the center. We are an ed tech nonprofit, which hits people, can hit people sort of shockingly. An ed tech nonprofit can sound like contradictory. You don't meet a lot of us in the space. I like to explain to folks that, yeah, we are a nonprofit. We operate like a nonprofit. We are mission driven, but we're also using technology to drive the work that we do. Our AR app, Kinfolk, is an augmented reality app. And so if you're familiar with things like Pokemon Go, where your Pokemon aren't really there, right? These are Pokemon that are digitally placed into the space with you. Our app works similarly. We have these digital monuments that aren't really there, but appear in your learning space in augmented reality. And our monuments are dedicated to Black, Brown, Indigenous, and queer figures. We're all about raising up that hidden history and helping new learners meet new stories. Our Kinfolk app works indoors and outdoors, and you can use it to analyze art, examine artifacts, and learn real history. What we are building, we consider to be the archive of the future, where you drop these digital monuments, and when you interact with them, you're able to view more content. You can see art, historical biographies, primary sources, community resources. It could be curriculum and really lots and lots more. And we build these digital monuments with members of community and whole communities and neighborhoods. Our action network is comprised of individuals, but also community organizations, community partners, schools, districts, also museums and heritage sites, really anybody who is invested in the narrative work that's going on in the country. Part of the archival work that we do is about flipping a traditional model on its head. Traditionally, we see where scholars provide the basis for archives, and then the community is expected to sort of engage in that archival work. What we want to do is investigate and experiment what happens when community members really drive the generation and the creation of archives. What happens when communities can direct and feel empowered to say, these are the stories we want to be preserved and we want to see sort of lived on. And then what happens when scholars can sort of inherit that co-created archive versus this traditional model. It's a much more community-driven sort of way of going about the work. So Kinfolk in the wild. Let's get into it. So if you all have a device, Kinfolk works on mobile phones and iPads. And for this section, I would love for you to take out that phone and you're going to scan this QR code. If you are not familiar with QR codes, this means you are going to open up your camera feature on your iPad or on your device, and you are going to point it at this QR code as if you're going to take a picture. Sometimes I find that if I almost tap on that QR code, I will see a link highlight in yellow underneath that I can access. This will take you to a place where you can download the app, whether you are an Android user or an Apple, an iPhone user. So I'm going to give you guys just a couple of moments to do that. And what I can also do is I am going to drop this into the chat if I can. Just for anybody who might still be looking for that link. All right. So hopefully now Kinfolk has started to download on your device, and you are going to encounter onboarding and permissions. On this screen, you are going to want to do a couple of things, okay, to allow permissions to view monuments and making your learning space more immersive. Number one, you guys are going to tap on this camera button, okay? When you tap on it, it should turn green. You are tapping to allow your camera to see the environment so it knows where to place a monument. Secondly, you're going to tap on this location button as well. This is to enable a special feature we have where we have hidden histories that are location-based. If you are in New York, for example, your selection may be slightly different from someone who may be calling in from Los Angeles. So camera and location, these are required. However, permissions for the microphone and for the phone library, these are completely optional and may remain orange. When you are ready, You can tap this start button at the bottom to get started. All right, I'm going to move us forward a little bit. Let's talk about scanning and our two modes, scanning and placing. Scan mode, in scan mode, you can scan images, image markers, we call them, to activate experiences. And in our place mode, you can place monuments in your space. So there are two modes. And at the bottom of the screen, at the bottom, this is where you tap to switch between those two modes, scan mode and place mode. Scan mode first. I'm going to play a short video that's going to just show you what we're going to do together, and then I'm going to walk you all through it. So if you're still catching up, no worries. Just take in this video for a quick second. I am going to stop it early because you guys are going to experience this video where you are calling in from. Here, this is an image marker. I'm placing it in front of me. I'm scanning the image marker. I already know. To bring that photograph to life. So we're going to do this together. I just want to get to the end of my video and get to my next slide. 1 second. There we go. Okay, so image markers. Image markers can be almost anything. They can be stickers. They can be photos, like you just saw me scan a photo of Nina Simone. They can be symbols. They can be murals. They can even be whole objects, right? Think about a bottle of water. If we wanted to scan that item to activate something else, we absolutely could. And what you're going to see is that with Kinfolk, we scan items in order to activate animations, videos, monuments. It could really trigger any sort of experience, and we're still experimenting with basically the different variety with different neighborhoods and entities. So let's get you prepped to do this yourself. You guys are going to tap to scan on the bottom of the menu. So you want to be in scan mode. Next, you are going to tap the scan button to begin scanning an image marker. In the middle of the screen, there's going to be this like green button, and you're going to tap that when you are ready to scan. Of course, you're going to need an image marker to point your camera at, and I'm going to show you that on the next slide. When I do, you are going to point your camera at an image marker so that it fills this space, okay? And you're going to make sure that the marker fills the screen. So pretend there was a photo in front of this camera. You would want it to fill this entire box. And when the marker is detected, the monument or the animation or the video will trigger. It's going to download and it's going to happen, okay? So I want you to be ready for that. A couple of tips before we get started, before I show it to you. Actually, let's start it and then I'll show you some tips. So you're going to practice doing this. You're going to take your phone, make sure you are in your scan mode at the bottom. Then you're going to tap on your scan button when you're ready. And you want this picture of Nina Simone to fill your camera space. Important tips include scanning is like an art. You can almost, once you get the hang of the feel of it, it'll become a lot easier. What I like to do is when I'm scanning, I like to approach my image markers ever so slightly and then pull back so that the activation has time to occur. So if you're finding, like I'm pointing my camera, I'm not seeing it trigger, you can also try to refresh your camera in the top left-hand corner. You're going to see like a refresh button, a symbol. You can refresh that and try again. In your scan mode, scan button, and you want to scan this image. I'm going to give you time now to do this. I know it might be awkward because we're online and we're not talking, but I really want to give you all an opportunity to play around with this trigger.
Jasmine, I can see the video, but I can't hear it.
I'm so happy. Thank you for the feedback. If this is happening to you, you want to make sure your phone is not on silent, which as really great participants, you probably are in silent because we're in a meeting. Your phone must be off of silent mode. Your volume must be up. Okay. So turn your volume up, but then also look on these iPhones, you know, that little silent
That's a
trigger.
really good point. That's what mine is, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Guys, make sure you turn this on. And we do that on purpose. We want to make sure that no one's ever caught off guard by our volume. They're like, I'm supposed to be in silent right now. Why is this this app speaking to me? So that's been a special request from our community. Okay. So I am, as you all do this, I'm going to start dropping our second poll. Boom, boom. I'm launching this poll just so that I can get some feedback on who's able to do it. Jen, I'm so happy you're able to trigger it. Teresa, you too. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So we're moving on. Excellent. So everyone can use scan mode. So let's talk about our other mode. Let's talk about our other mode, which is place mode. All right. So place mode is going to work a little like this. So be careful. This video is going to play very, very quickly. Again, I'm just going to show you what we're going to do before we do it. I'm in place mode. I'm downloading a monument and I'm placing a monument in my space. So with scan mode, you must scan something that Kinfolk provides, right? You're scanning something and you're experiencing whatever that activation is. With place mode, you can bring these monuments to your spaces wherever you are. Okay, so let's start practicing. It's like it never wants to skip to my next slide. There we go. All right. Step number one, you all are going to tap to place at the bottom of the menu. Before you were in scan, now we are in place. You're going to tap the place button to begin placing a monument. This place button looks kind of like an addition sign. When you see this symbol here, it looks like an arrow pointing down with a line. This symbol or icon is a download icon. This is just symbolizing that this monument is not on your device yet and you need to download it. So if you see this and you want to check out that experience, you can download any amount of the monuments that are available in the catalog. But for now, I really want you all to practice placing a very specific monument. I want us all to place a monument by the name of Seneca Village. You guys are going to tap to place a monument from this list, in particular Seneca Village. It's going to appear in your camera view. When you click this addition sign, it's going to appear like it's there in front of you. You are going to find a plane. You want to find a flat surface where somewhere in your room where you can place that monument. I like to place mine on places like floors, tabletops, student desks, anywhere that you are comfortable, but you need that flat surface. So go ahead and find that plane, and then you're going to tap the check icon at the bottom of your screen when you are ready to place it. And you should have a monument in your vicinity. Okay. So with that being said, we're not done. You've placed the monument, but now I want to show you all the other things you can do with that monument right now. One, you can edit a monument. So these can be scaled and they can be moved. In the top left-hand corner, you're going to see an icon that looks like a graduation cap next to what looks like a pencil. The graduation cap symbolizes learn mode, and the pencil symbolizes edit mode. I want you to tap toggle to activate edit mode. So click over to that pencil. From there, tap on Seneca Village or the monument that you want to edit. And from there, you can use taps, pinches, twist gestures. You can really move that monument around. You can scale it up to make it large. You can scale it down to make it small. And you can, again, you can move it around to place it exactly where you want. When you are finished editing, of course, you're going to toggle back from edit mode, from that pencil, to learn mode, to where that almost that graduation cap is. Okay. So this is how you edit a monument. And I'm just going to take a moment and check my chat. Perfect. Make sure I don't have any questions. I think you guys are ready for the last step of this monument placement. So you can place a monument, you can edit a monument, but now let's get to interacting with the monument. Okay. To interact with the monument, you are going to tap toggle to activate learn mode. So go to that graduation cap. That's how you want to lock that monument in place. You don't want it moving around on you. You don't want to continue to edit it right now. You just want to interact with the content. You're going to, in learn mode, you are going to tap on the monument itself. And what should occur is that you are going to see the card view. Information is going to pop up. You're going to see a biography first for Seneca Village. And I want to point out that there is audio that plays here for Seneca Village. You can read about it on your own, or you can listen along with the audio. You can pause this experience. And when you are ready to explore the other information available for Seneca Village, you can swipe to the left in order to access other cards, like artifact cards, get involved cards, other materials that could be available for this experience. So in summary, this is how you place monuments, edit monuments, and interact monuments. This is also how you can scan in our scan mode, Kinfolk image markers. So I think we are truly ready to begin to explore. I know this was kind of fast, and I am a resource. Feel free to let me know in the chat if you're experiencing any sorts of difficulty. I want to make sure that everybody can participate in this next activity. You all are going to try this out. I want you to see how fast you can make something called AR bingo. Okay, you're going to test your hidden history as you practice this sort of motion of placing monuments, editing monuments, and interacting with monuments. So you're getting practice with the app, but we also want to test that hidden history. Let's start to look at the content and what we can gain from XR tools like this. Okay, this is our bingo board here on the right. I'm going to let it exist here on the screen for the sake of this session. And here's a hint. I want you all to you've already placed Seneca Village. So use Seneca Village as your free space. Explore Seneca Village for sure. But then I want you to place 4 other monuments in your environment somewhere. They don't need to be in a line. They can be anywhere in your environment to explore. And I want you to try to choose four monuments that create a diagonal, horizontal, or vertical line here on our bingo board. So if Seneca Village is our free space, you want to look through our catalog to see if you can find maybe who was the first African-American woman elected to Congress. If you know that answer, you might have a leg up at finding out who that person is in our catalog, and you would place that figure in your space. Okay, you want to try to do that for 5 figures. You starting off with Seneca Village. See if you can make AR bingo. I'm going to give us about, I'm looking at the time. I'm thinking 5 minutes to explore. I think 5 minutes is plenty of time. Text a photo or a video of your play to this phone number, 216-272-8545. And let me know if you run into any trouble with the app or with this process. And if you want to chat more. When you return in 5 minutes, we'll continue on with the session. But I do want to have this hands-on activity here for you to play with the app. okay, and to play with the content. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn my camera off. Oh, this is great. And I'm going to give us 5 minutes just to play around and we'll come back and we'll talk, okay? No music this time around. I leave that to you all. Okay. All right. So I am coming back in to time check with you all. It is 11:32 my time. And so I want to check in. Do we want more time to explore? If we want to do another 5 minutes, we can. If not, we can absolutely continue on with the session. All right. I'm seeing no objections. So I'm thinking we can begin to move forward. Let's do this. If you're still checking something out, I'm going to throw another poll into the chat for us to consider. And then I'll let this be my signal to move on or hold. How much of this hidden history did you already know? Yay. Our goal is to, obviously tell these undertold stories. So we love when these are new narratives for people.
I had a quick question.
Absolutely.
Um, you mentioned that this is it's the location of where you have the app like affect the historical sites and individuals that are coming out on the site.
Yes. Yes. I can speak a little bit more to that.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. No, I just noticed because for mine, Octavia Butler was the first one that popped out. And I was like, oh, what a coincidence. Like it's so close from here. And then I realized, oh, maybe it has something to do with the app. I had so much fun with it. So I just wanted to learn more.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the question and for the comment. So we have a third mode called geolocation mode that is currently testing in New York City. And what the geolocation mode does is it allows you to see different experiences on a map as well as monuments created by our signature artists. I mean, we have a monument that Hank Willis Thomas contributed to the Kinfolk app in New York right now that folks that are local can go and visit. And so we're doing a small test. We're learning as much as we can possibly learn about how folks like to visit these sites. We're listening to community about what they want that experience to be, and then we hope to broaden that experience for more of our audiences across the country.
I love that. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, so this was AR Bingo. Hopefully this is an activity that you can see yourself having fun doing, but you could also see yourself, leading this with a group that you want to introduce to XR. So whether that is a classroom full of students, a classroom full of adult learners, anybody that you want to, show this new AR technology to. Hopefully this bingo board could be a tool. If you're interested in it, let me know in the chat and I can send this board your way. So let's continue on and talk a little bit about our why. I'm going to kind of go through this quickly because I know a lot of us are in similar industries and in the same industry. This is a monuments map by Monuments Lab. We see so many red dots. And we know that out of 48,178 monuments nationwide, only 240 represent Black and Brown people. So this is the need for the work that we are doing. We are seeing, these initiatives to restrict how we study things like race and gender in schools. We're seeing critical race theory, quote unquote, like bans spread across this country. And we're also seeing book bans happen at an alarming rate over the last couple of years. And so this is just the power of the work that we're doing. We know that when we look at popular banned books that are popular, we know that there is a trend of the narratives that are being omitted. And our organization is trying to meet that need and address that need. And so what I love to challenge people to imagine and to think on is it's the year 2040. If we were to all sort of adopt this inclusive way of doing learning and curriculum, what would that impact look like? This is a wall work that we did that exhibited in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City for 6 to 7 months last year. And we call this piece Kinfolk 2040. These are some of the things that we are thinking about that we believe will happen when we shift narratives in this way. We see things reflected in monuments. We see it reflected of who goes into public space, how public space is being utilized. If you have your app open and you are feeling bold, I would love for you to try scanning this image with your Kinfolk app using your scan mode. And let's test and see if you remember how to do it just before we continue. So treat this wall work just like it were an image marker and let it come to life. And as you do it, think about it. What would happen if we continue to use tech tools like this? What would happen if we continue to share these underrepresented stories amongst ourselves and each community shared their undertold heroes? They shared those stories with other communities, right? So I hope you got to experience this wall work. You got to see sort of an animation happen. And at this point in time, we want to just sort of move into self-assessment and into reflection. I want to give us just 5 minutes. Perfect. I want to give us just 5 minutes to engage with this self-assessment and this reflection activity on the screen. I'm not going to send anything because my expectation is not for you guys to, you don't have to write anything. I'm not going to ask you to share this information out, at least nothing that you're uncomfortable sharing. But I do want you to take just 5 minutes to think about if you work with students, if you work with learners, just sort of think about these different indicators and for how many students would these statements ring true for? And at the end of 5 minutes, I will open the floor for just a couple of minutes, just for some dialogue, and people can share what they feel comfortable sharing about what they thought of in this 5 minutes time. Okay, so I'm gonna turn my camera off and you all can begin to think about the self-assessment and this reflection. Refresh your coffee if you need to. Okay, all right. So I dropped a poll for us. If you all can just answer, when and how should hidden history be taught in schools? This will just give me feedback and allow me to move forward. I'm seeing answers there, so I think we're good to move on. Would anybody like to share anything that they are reflecting on? This could be something that you thought as a result of this self-assessment. This could be from, something a thought that came about because you've tried the tool. Does anyone want to share anything?
Jasmine, I wish I would have had this when I was in the K-12 classroom. This is absolutely incredible, so engaging, and I found myself that I wanted to keep playing with it and learning instead of getting back to my real job right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's, we really want to build tools that are supportive of teachers and educators who are doing, real work, and also for parents. So yeah, I invite folks, share those reactions. I'm looking at the time. I'm going to read the room and we're going to keep moving on. And I'm going to end with this so that we have time just for questions and things. There are multiple ways that you can partner with our organization, as well as how to partner specifically with the education leg of Kinfolk. We do work, and we work with partners to build out our digital archive. We take nominations. We work with community, again, organizations and artists to create these experiences. We preserve local history. We make public programming with this information. It could be a scavenger hunt, a walking tour. Learning activations are so broad. They can look like anything. They can be workshops. There's really no playbook for it, and we're creating it with communities as we go. We also obviously co-create educational lessons if that's something that you're interested in. But I encourage people to just reach out if you see some alignment, or you just want to learn more about the work that we do. We do have a pilot program. We are piloting right now with a select number of schools. This opens up next year and beyond in the future. We are prototyping our course, Black Radical Imagination. And what that course does is it walks classrooms and users through understanding Afrofuturist pioneers like Sun Ra, Octavia Butler, George Clinton. And we have an interactive workbook that works with our app that really helps the learning solidify and resonate with young folks in the classroom. These are just a list of some information about our curriculum. Everything is aligned to Common Core state standards because we want this to be not something else that teachers have to worry about, but rather this is a real support, and it's plugging that need for teachers. We're teaching the history, the hidden history, so they don't have to invest in the time and going to research, trying to find out. We're taking care of that. And we are using the archive to place our ancestors in front of our youth so that no one can explain, for example, James Baldwin like James Baldwin can explain James Baldwin. And so with this app, we think we have a lot of good things going, but the biggest plus is the community of educators who are invested in the future of learning, and just committed to this commitment that we have to invest in our young people. If you're interested in this program, or if you know someone that might be, we have a wait list. This is the QR code for how you can access it. Scan this with your regular camera function on your cell phone so that you can have this link. I'll also drop this at the end of the call. You can find out more also on our website. And then finally, I'm going to pull up this survey and say, again, we are a nonprofit. The best way to support and to help us is to give us your feedback. This workshop is a prototype. Our tool is a prototype. Everything that we are doing, we plan and we iterate on continuously. And so please do not hold back opinions or thoughts or think, I'm just one more survey. Your survey will truly help move the needle. So if you could it won't take the full 10 minutes that we have left in this session, but if you could pull this survey up and complete this while we do this Q&A, this would be a huge help to myself personally, and also to our team about this experience. And so with that, I would like to leave this up, and I'll open the floor just for questions for our remaining 10 minutes.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. I don't know about you all, but I was very quickly sending all of this information to my daughter's school, my teacher friends, the assistant head of my daughter's school. I was just like, you guys have to send it to my mom's group. We have over 4,000 members. I'm like, I get this for your kids. So I love the applicability. And I think Jen talked about how it's just innovative and it makes you want to learn, and it doesn't it adds to the classroom in a way that I think our students, our modern day students, can really identify with. And we apply this to even higher education. We can think of a million ways that we can add this as a supportive tool in the classroom. So thank you so much for sharing your, I can tell your passion with us, and your the baby that is growing in front of you. I'm sure you're just amazed as we are. So thank you so much. If we don't have any other questions or anything else, we can wrap it up. And we want to thank you all for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event.